Our friend Pat Robertson is in the news today. Pat Robertson was responding to a question that one of his listeners had sent him, and it was about how his wife is being rebellious and not listening to him. So what was Pat Robertson's advice?
No,
Let's watch.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
My wife has become a real problem. She has no respect for me as the head of the house. She insults me. She even went as far as stretching her hand to beat me. I've lost my self-confidence. Her words hurt so much, and she refuses to talk through our problems. Please tell me what I can do.
Well, you could become a Muslim, then you could beat her.
But in lieu of that.
You don't want to go to Saudi Arabia?
No.
You know, I think this man's got to stand up to her. And he can't let her get away with this stuff. And, you know, I don't know. I don't think we condone wife beating these days, but something's got to be done. What do you do with that? You can't divorce her, according to the scripture. And so I say, move to Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
In other words.
Wow.
Anybody can be beat. All right, listen. When he first said it, I was like, he sounds jealous of the Muslims. And by the end, that's exactly what he was. He was like, oh man, I guess we can't do the wife beating anymore. What do you do with a problem like that? I mean, in the old days, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Here's what I like. I like transparency. So I think that video is actually excellent because it gives you an idea of their frame of mind, right? People who believe in Pat Robertson, extreme right-wingers, this is the way that they think of women. So women out there, we live in America. You get to decide who you marry. You get to decide who you end up with. This is, you know, full of transparency. You can totally see what these guys are all about. I love that.
Yeah.
So there's no surprise if you end up with one of these guys.
And I'm telling you, these Christian fundamentalists are so jealous of the Muslims. That's why they're always warning about Sharia law, because they'd love to take over the state with their religion. In fact, they talk about it all the time. Oh, there's the First Amendment. No way, no. We'll have more religion in the state, except if it's Muslims. Goddamn Sharia law, right? So in this case, they're like, oh, we could beat our wives like the Muslims. God, they got it good, right? Now, in this case, the guy does sound like a bit of a bitch. I mean, come on, let's keep it real. Keep it real, like it's too much, right? I mean, if your wife is doing this to you, you got issues, man.
Well, okay, I think that's a little unfair. You don't know what their relationship is like. Maybe she is abusive, right?
I know, but you regulate, okay?
Okay, but how do you regulate? What's your regulation? Your regulation is if it's a really bad situation, yeah, you do have the option of divorce. F religion, F whatever. Like if you're in a really unhappy relationship and your wife is being mentally or physically abusive, you walk out.
Yeah, or you fuck other women. Okay, no, but can we keep it real here for a second? Now, I'm the bad guy, right? But look, I'd be like, hey, listen, we're having this conversation. I don't think we're having this conversation because Sally Sue down the street is kind of into me, okay? So like, come again, but come correct this time, okay? Look, there's other ways.
I love the ultimatum there.
Yeah.
If you don't respect me, you don't treat me well, I'm gonna fuck other women.
That's
what's
right.
gonna happen.
No, but that's right. And guess what? That'll work. You know what you do? Ironically, that puts the fear of God in them a little bit.
Right.
They're like, oh, wait, what do you mean Sally Sue? Sally's that whore down the street, Sally Sue? She's interested in you? Hey, listen, man, I didn't mean that thing. I mean, look, let me grab you a sandwich.
The funny thing is, your advice is just as ridiculous as Pat Robertson's, but it's on the other side of the spectrum. Like, it's just ridiculous.
It is, but look. In all honesty, you got to do something. Obviously, you're not going to go physical. That's insanity, right? So you have to even the power situation a little bit. So I'm kidding around about how you threaten, to sleep with someone else. Partly kidding. Okay, anyway, but there has to be some sort of shift in the power paradigm. Otherwise, you're going to get run over. Look, you got to draw the line. And if the line is crossed, there has to be consequences.
I like drawing the line at like couples counseling or therapy, as opposed to like retaliation.
Oh, yeah,
because what you're all about here is retaliation, which is ridiculous. Well, do you want to work through your problems, or you want to treat a relationship like a 12-year-old? You better do what I want, or I'm going to go fuck Susie. Like, no, it's not going to work. Look,
no,
I'm not married. I'm not married,
work.
so it's a little ridiculous for me to give advice. But I would assume that when you're in a marriage, you should deal with it as mature adults, as opposed to giving one another ridiculous ultimatums or beating one another.
Okay, your wife threatening to beat you is so out of control that the proper response to that is not, well, honey, should we go to counseling together? I mean, why don't you just ask her to hit you?
Okay, so this man is obviously scared of how abusive she is, right? You don't think she's going to be even more abusive if you threaten to sleep with another woman?
I can't. Oh man, you can't be worried about your wife being abusive with you.
We don't know what their situation is.
Oh, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. You look again. Putting the kidding aside, in any relationship, and I look. It not in my marriage. Thank God we're not. Hey, that's never happened to us. Two, right? Mm-hmm. But in relationships, if girls, were like, oh, you want to do a power play? I'm going to do a power play. The next time we went out, the amount of flirting I would do with other women and the amount of giggling.
That's not going to make the relationship better.
No, hold. And the amount of giggling those girls would do, that'll even the playing field real quick and in a hurry. Okay? All of a sudden, when you get back home, hey, a little bit more respect. Interesting. You think that's not real? That's the most real thing I've ever said on the show.
It's the kind of stuff that I would do in like a high school relationship. Like, oh, my boyfriend's not paying attention to me and he's not respecting me. I'm going to go flirt with Bobby and teach him.
No, we're all teenagers. We're all human beings. We never grow out of it. And that power paradigm is a real thing in relationships. And if you don't keep a check on it, you're going to get run over. Okay? I'm telling you right now. So there has to be, but in a marriage, of course, it's a little different. Maybe it's a lot different, to your point, Anna, because you've got to respect each other. If you can't respect each other at your core, you're going to have fundamental issues. And it's not something that could be hammered out by a little giggling and a little flirting and a little threatening.